told me, Derek, you're going to sit there all day and just listen to this amazing voices, I said, thank God. It is truly a blessing to be here.
Amen.
Now, this is my first time doing a speech from my phone. I always write things down. So
It's all right.
I'm trying to.
It's all right.
Technology and use what God has given us. Well, you know what? That might be right. But see, we're friends. We can let people know how much your friends are right now.
Amen.
So,
Amen.
thank you, Reverend Walls, First Lady Walls, and this blessed church for allowing me the opportunity and honor of joining and speaking this Sunday, God's Day, October 26, 2025.
Amen.
Thank you, friends and family, especially my better half Patricia, for taking this time to be here today.
Amen.
Now, some of you came here to see Reverend Walls in this beautiful church. And some of you came to see, was it true? Is Derek really going to be in the pulpit? And is he going to speak? I'm here.
Amen.
This is the second time Brother Walls has bestowed this honor, allowing me to speak at his church. And the first time was 11 years ago, October 19, 2014.
Oh, wow.
I guess he said, well, give me some time to get it right. Then we'll have him back again. Well, this is the trend. I guess I'll see you in another 11 years. I pray that God directs the words today that will glorify his name.
Amen.
I humbly thank you for the privilege of being here. And Reverend Walls, for the fortune of your friendship. God is an amazing God, and will direct you if you pray and listen. See, the problem is, the answer isn't always what we want to hear.
Yes.
We must learn to be obedient and follow his lead. Today, we will talk about leadership. So it was eloquently read, Romans chapter 12, 1 through 8. And I am not going to reread the whole thing, but I would like to read 7 through 8, just to emphasize that, if you can bear with me. If it is serving, I'm sorry, let me go back. Let me go back to 6 through 8. We have different gifts according to the grace given us. If a man's gift is prophesying, let him use it proportionate with his faith. If it is serving, let him serve. If it is teaching, let him teach. If it is encouraging, let him encourage. If it is contributing to the needs of others, let him give with generosity. If it is leadership, let him govern diligently. If it is showing mercy, let him do it cheerfully.
Yes.
Now, I think all those gifts are in us, but some are a bit more profound. And I didn't always ask to be where I was. I think God led me. Sometimes I was obedient, and sometimes he smacked me around until I was obedient.
Amen.
Y'all understand. I know some of y'all understand.
Yes.
So this whole thing about Paul, what Paul is saying, and how it got to be to this point, we're going to leave that up to Reverend Walls to fill you in. So stay tuned, and if you act right, we might invite you back. But today, we talk about leadership. There are many aspects of leadership, and Reverend Walls and I had breakfast yesterday. And so what are you going to talk about? We talk about leadership. He goes, well, what part of leadership? I'm like, huh? He said, there are many aspects to leadership. And I didn't really break it down that way. And so, having that insight, I thank you for that, I'm going to break it down to an aspect of leadership. I'm going to talk about leadership by example. In the Marine Corps, I was right out of high school, I joined the Marines, and that's what their motto is, leadership by example. As we lead others, we must learn to lead ourselves. We must be an example. It's not do as I say, not what I say do. It's practice what you preach.
Yes.
People are looking at you. As children of God, we're an example, and people are looking at you.
Yes.
And they're looking at you for encouragement, for leadership, but sometimes just to see if you trip up. And as we know, nobody's perfect, so we must pray and ask Him for forgiveness and ask Him to renew our strength. So I want to just a couple of examples that I've experienced in my life about leadership, and I think if you're a God-fearing person and you allow Him to speak through you, that He would naturally guide you.
Yes.
So I want to talk about MBD, and before I talk about MBD, we were introduced to my board chair, Reverend Wallace Mobley, who's always been a great encouragement. And we have our board treasurer, April Hortlett, with us today as well. April, take a stand and say hello to the church.
Amen. Amen.
She's the most important of pearls. So one day, I was new to MBD as new executive director, and if you can believe it, MBD was $38 million negative in assets. I know. And so we were having a meeting with the porters and the supers, and a snowstorm was coming. And the supers said, "Oh, Mr. Lovett, there's a huge snowstorm coming, and our snow blowers aren't working." And we didn't have money to buy snow blowers. I said, "Well, we're going to do it the old-fashioned way. We're going to put our backs into it, and I'm going to help." And they said, "Oh, yeah, right, you just heard the grumbling." And the weather people got it right. There was a big snowstorm. There was a big snowstorm. There was a doozy. And I'm at home with Patricia. Our kids are very young at the time, so they really couldn't come outside and help me shovel our sidewalk. So shoveled our sidewalk, and our neighbor next door had purchased a home, but he wasn't there yet, and my mother raised me to take care of your neighbors, and so I showed his driveway, and the neighbor to the right side, she's well into her 80s, and she couldn't do it, and so I showed her sidewalk. And I said, "Patricia, I'll be back." She said, "Where are you going? You know how bad it is outside?" I said, "I gave the guys my word that would help them shovel this sidewalk." So I put the shovel in the back of the SUV, and I drove to one side, and Flores was out there with this guy shoveling, and I said, "Okay, come on, let's go," and I helped him. And I said, "Who's coming with me?" "I'm coming, Mr. Love. I'm going to jump in the car." I went to Sanchez, and Sanchez is out there. "Mr. Love, I'm trying as hard as I can. I'm not here to criticize. I'm here to help. Let's get this done. There's others that need help. We got this done." He said, "I'm coming with you." I said, "Let's go." Went to Willie. You call him Whining Willie. Willie whines about everything. And of course, Willie was not outside. And that snow had not been touched. So we got out there, and you heard us, we out there, getting this snow done. Willie comes out, coat open, boots unlaced. "I was going to do it." I said, "Willie, how should help her go back inside?" He got out there, and he shoveled it, and we threw things in the car. We give him a go. Wait, what's going on?" He goes, "I'm coming." I said, "Well, come on in." So we get to the next one, it's Anthony. Anthony's up there, "Mr. Love, I'm trying to hard as I can." No, we got the troops. We're here to help. And Willie looked, and Anthony looked, he said, Willie, what are you doing here?" And Willie said, "I'm part of the snow shoveling detail." And that simple form of leadership was able to get the camaraderie started. We was poor. We couldn't afford the OR. We was poor. But it gave us the foundation to build together. It gave us the ability to work together to move it forward. I don't want to go into too much more, but we're a couple $100 million positive right now. We just built the largest
Amen.
Paxton Hollow building in North America.
Amen.
And our total development cost, MDD has built in a total development cost over $1 billion in
Wow.
development. So God is amazing, and if you are obedient, try to be obedient.
Yes, yes.
It was no longer management against the union. It was team working toward a purpose.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to tell you another quick story before Reverend Wallace calls the Sandman with the hook. And some young people might not know about that. You can ask your parents. There was a gentleman by the name of Robert Muldoon. Robert Muldoon ran the training for the Thomas Shorman Fund. The Thomas Shorman Fund is a training center for 32BJ, which is the maintenance workers for MVPs. And Robert Muldoon called one day and says, "Mr. Lovett, we have an amazing opportunity." He said, "Through the money from the Obama administration, we can train the supers in green building, green maintenance." And I said, "That sounds really good. Yeah, that's what we can't do that." He goes, "Well, why not? It's not going to cost you anything." I said, "Well, if you train by the supers green, I hire from within the ranks. And when the quarters become supers, they're going to get a disadvantage." He said, "Well, we didn't get money to train the quarters." I said, "Well, go back and figure it out." He came back and said, "Mr. Lovett, we got great news. We got permission to train your supers and your quarters."
All right.
I said, "Well, that's good." He said, "Well," I said, "Well, I got property managers. They don't know how to manage green." "Well, they're not members. We can't pay for it." I didn't ask you that. I said, "You find me somebody to teach them. I'll pay for it." They came back. I said, "Okay, Mr. Lovett, we got money to train the supers. We got money to train the porters. We got somebody to train the property managers." I said, "And?" He goes, "What now?" I said, "And I'm also going to take that course because I realized that the culture starts from the top. It's always leadership by example." And so these,
Amen.
but what happened is I couldn't walk down the street without a super or a maintenance worker stopping. "Oh, Mr. Lovett, do you know that we can do this?" The motivation.
Yes.
Because when somebody knows that you're investing in them,
Yes.
that when you care for them and you truly care for them, as we do, they will walk them out for you. Somebody said to me one time, "Listen, Mr. Lovett, these people love you. What's the secret?" I said, "What kind of leader are you? Are you the kind of leader that when you leave and you turn around and nobody's following?" And I'm a military man, and so we have to deal with war situations. I said, "Are you a leader that you want somebody to put a bullet back in the back of your head? Or are you the type of leader that somebody will take a bullet for you?" See, God puts gifts in us. So as we lead, we must motivate. I'm not saying that we need to accept everything, but when you need to correct, it's important not to be critical of criticizing, but to do it in a constructive way.
Yes.
Because nobody's perfect, nothing's perfect.
Yes.
And how we correct it is so important. It can fill somebody with hope and promise, or it can destroy somebody's confidence.
Yes. Yes.
As we lead by example, it is important not to be overly critical and be constructive. We are always walking a path. Sometimes we lead, sometimes we follow. No matter what the situation, we are always leading our own lives. Try to lead yourself in a way that is first and foremost pleasing to God.
Yes.
I thank you for this opportunity to share, and I look forward to seeing you again in
Amen.
11 years. Thank you so much. God bless.
Amen. Amen. To God be the glory.
He means when he says lead by example,